This place in Bali is so unique and beautiful that it even has been designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and everyone who comes to Bali should visit it at least once. How is it even possible that landscapes like this exist and there are almost no tourists? Why did you never heard about this hidden gem in Bali and everyone else is just showing you the crowded touristy areas? So many people are missing out on this magical nature paradise. Full of green rice fields, impressive volcano mountains, the friendliest people, and the full experience of Balinese culture. This is why I will show you today what are the most important things you should know, what you should see and do, where to stay and eat, and especially if you should come here.
On and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
So Jatiluwih is located in the center of Bali and it's about 1 to 1.5 hours away from Canggu and about 1.5 to 2 hours from the airport. And it's also just 40 to 60 minutes away from Munduk, a place that I reviewed in one of my last videos. I'll link it down, that is very famous for jungle, waterfalls, a beautiful temple, so maybe you can add this into your trip. Jatiluwih is very famous for that it's 1 out of 4 Unesco World Heritage Sites that are located within Bali. It's super famous for endlessly long rice fields and also the back view of the volcanoes and mountains of Bali, and you can do a lot of hiking tracks and also a lot of bike tours there. So let's start with the things that you can do here in Jatiluwih, and the most famous one is obviously hiking through the beautiful rice terraces, and there are different kind of tracks with like different lengths. And to get to all of them, you need to pay an entrance fee, which is about $4.50 per person when you want to drive to them. And then you have kind of 6 different tracks and they vary from the length between 1.5 kilometers until 5.5 kilometers. And hiking through those rice terraces were the best rice field experience that I had at Bali. It was really so beautiful. They also take the money from the entrance fee to support the locals, and they clean the paths every day so there is no trash laying around as in some other parts of Bali. It's really so beautiful. The paths are really beautiful, well maintained, so you really understand why they take the fee and they really care about the environment there. So you can just hike all of the paths alone. You can also take a guide that explains you more about the nature and also about the culture there. And you can also do bicycle tours. You can just rent out a bicycle, do it on your own, or again, do a guided tour. The next thing that you can do is river tubing, and it's really chilled. You can just go to Bendungan Ye Ayahulu and rent out a tube for about $20 per person, and you just sit down in the river with that tube and just let yourself flow. And it's really chill. The river is a little bit fresh but not too cold as I expected, and it was really chill. They say you can float about 500 meters. It honestly felt like it's 2 kilometers because the river is really so slow and chilled, and you can just float until the end. There's then like a bamboo in the water that doesn't let you float any further. You even cross under a tunnel that they just built for the river, so you can really flow under the tunnel. I actually got out earlier because I thought it was already the end and I missed it. But you can really go until the end. It was super chill and also really cheap. And it's a great way to calm down, just look at the nature, float by and just relax. The next one is the waterfall Air Terjun Yehu, and it's really nice to go there. You just pay about 60 cents entrance and parking fee, and then you walk like about 5 minutes down to the waterfall, and it's really calm. There were almost no people when we were there, and the waterfall is really majestic. You can even go into the water and swim and just chill there on like a table that they built. So it's really nice to just go there and enjoy the nature. And you can also do a cooking class in Jatiluwih. One very famous place is Kubu Terrace cooking class, and the price is about 43 US dollar per person, which seems a bit high, but they also include the pickup at your hotel in all of the areas in Bali, for example in Sanur, Canggu, or wherever you stay, and then they drive you to the Jatiluwih Rice Terraces. You hike to the place because the place where you cook is actually inside of the rice terraces, so you have to hike there about 1 to 2 kilometers, and then you hike there, you get all of the plants from their garden, and then you cook with them. The meal is included, and after that you trek back, and then they bring you back to the hotel, which is a very nice way to just have everything of that combined in a day trip. So I will link their website where you can book it down below, but keep in mind, if you do it like that with a day trip, you won't have the opportunity to do all of the rest, like the river tubing or even the waterfalls, etc., because it's like a trip that you have the transport already included. If you like the value that you're getting out of this video so far, please help me out, like and subscribe to help this channel grow and not miss out on any future travel guides. You can also go into the natural hot springs, and they are called air panas. There are 3 of them in the surrounding areas. All of them are about 10 to 15 minutes away from Jatiluwih, and I will blend the name of all of them in here with the hot water inside and also the view of a rice field and also the waterfall, which is really beautiful, so I can recommend you to go. And the last thing to do is the Leka Leka waterfall. It's just 30 minutes away, and the entrance fee is about $3 per person. So 3 important things that you should know before coming. If you want to go to the area, you have to pay the entrance fee, as I said already, about $4.50 per person just to get to the rice fields. Second of all, almost all restaurants there close at 6 p.m. Just a few a little bit longer open, like 2 or 3, but most of them actually close at 6 p.m. because I think that Jatiluwih for most of the people are more like a day trip and they really don't stay overnight. And third, you will find almost no typical Bali villas there or really modern stays that you could stay. Honestly, because it's a Unesco World Heritage, it's really hard to build something new. Everything is protected by Unesco. So you just find a few hotels along the rice terraces that are a little bit more older or get like renovated. We really liked the Buana Agung suites that we moved in. You had the beautiful view of the rice terraces, and we were directly located where all of the hiking tracks begin. Another one that I would recommend to you is the Koima Villas, and the property is so beautiful. They're more hidden away in a separate rice fields, and there's a river coming down the mountains, and it was so beautiful to wake up in the room because everything is glass and you could just open up and hear the river. It was so beautiful to wake up to this. But I have to tell you that while we were there staying, we had a huge mold problem in our bathroom. I don't know if it's all of the rooms. I don't know if they're like building right now new villas and will just resolve the mold problem. But because of this, we had to move out on our second day and then move to Buana Agung. So I can 100% recommend Buana Agung. If you want to take the risk, if they resolve the mold problem, you could also go to Koima, but I would actually choose the first option all the time. And as always, I will link you all of the great restaurants here. And one that really stand out to us was the Batu Karu Kopi, which is like a coffee shop, but it's overlooking all of the nice restaurants, and it really reminded me of a Canggu coffee and like a restaurant, and their pancakes and croissants and coffee, everything was just a 10 out of 10, and we were there every morning while we stayed in Jatiluwih. And while all of the restaurants are facing towards the rice fields, you will have an amazing view from all of them. 2 are especially located within the rice fields, and one of them is Rustic Bali and the second one is Katawaka. So should you come to Jatiluwih, should you do a day trip or should you stay in a hotel? In my opinion, you should do at least one day trip there because it's so unique and it's just the definition of Bali, the rice fields, the mountains, and just everything there that makes Bali so unique. And if you can, I would always recommend you to stay in, for example, Buana Agung and wake up to sunrise with the rice fields. It was really beautiful. But if you don't have that much time in Bali, it's more practical to you to just do a day trip there. And it also reminded me a little bit of Cinnamon because both places are very famous for the mountain views and also the rice fields. And honestly, if I had to decide between Cinnamon or Jatiluwih, for example, if you don't have that much time in Bali, if you want luxurious restaurants and the nice Bali villas that you always see on Instagram, I would go to Cinnamon because you don't really have nice villas or restaurants in Jatiluwih because it's a Unesco World Heritage Site and it's not easy to build new things. But if you really just want the beautiful rice field views and you want endless rice fields, then you should definitely go to Jatiluwih because they are way bigger and the view is just way more stunning. If you want to take a look into Cinnamon or Munduk that I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, I will link you down those travel guides that I already made from my account in the descriptions. And as I said, you should definitely do a day trip to Jatiluwih because it's just so unique and it was one of the best views that we ever had of Bali. So thank you so much for liking and subscribing, and I will see you in one of my next videos where I show you the most beautiful places all around the world.